Very exciting day today. We're at Ping headquarters, a beautiful campus. We're joined today by Ryan Stokke, Director of Product Design here for Ping, and we're going to talk through some of the G430 product that's coming out here. Let's get into it. It's going to be a fun one.
Absolutely. As we all know, Ping has been a benchmark in the industry for several years and already seen some tour success with G430. So Ryan, why don't you kind of give us a little rundown as to what we can expect out of the G430 driver to start?
Yeah, so with G430 driver, as you mentioned, we've already had a lot of success really getting it into our tour players' hands and the performance that we're seeing, and just knowing with confidence that that's going to transfer to our consumers as well when they start to play the product. But what we really focused with G430 driver was the distance and forgiveness and consistency aspect that I think our Ping player really can trust and really benefit from. And so with the driver, we focus on the face technology design that's leading to over mile-an-hour ball speed for all consumers. We looked at how do we thin out the face, how do we maximize ball speed and really lead to getting greater distance.
Love that. So I know Ping historically has been arguably one of the most stable products out there, most forgiving for a huge demographic of player. So now this year we're getting some speed.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when we balance stability with speed, it really is with our three different models. So we have the LST, the low spin, our Max, which is really the most forgiving, reaches the broadest audience as well. And then the SFT with our straight flight technology. Having those three key fitting aspects really helps get it into the right consumer when we look at those different types of consumer profiles, and then maximize the forgiveness aspect with the high density back weight, which is really, for us, the ability to move the CG and get really dialed in, but extremely forgiving because of the high density profile. That design really does lead to stability and consistency. With the 430 LST, we are introducing carbon fly wrap, so there's a composite crown design, and it really does build off the legacy of what we did with G400 LST and G410, G425. It's our smaller profile, it's really targeted at the lower spin aspect. We've had a lot of those going on tour, just right through to players, because of when we say it's going to sound better, it's going to be more stable, as well as be faster and deliver more distance. It's a really easy sell with our tour players.
So going from driver, we obviously mentioned some of the tech in that. How much of that tech carries down into the fairway metals and hybrids even when you're seeing so much success with a driver? Yeah,
so with Ping, when we talk about a low and back CG, that's really a theme that you'll see across all of our metal woods. The carbon fly wrap as well is something that goes from the driver and the LST and is actually prevalent in all of the fairway woods and the hybrids, mainly because it's even a bigger performance story. So when you take carbon fly wrap and you can exchange composite, what was once steel, you get such a benefit for weight savings and lowering of CG that we really saw the opportunity to take advantage.
Yeah, because that fairway metal becomes such an important part in players' bags, not only tour players, but your avid amateurs and even guys that are just playing for fun on the weekends, because it does need to put you in play. It needs to be that product that's consistent. But I love how you guys are reducing spin. Spin's such a prominent thing in distance and control, so to be able to lower that spin and allow for a little bit more shaft opportunity is always something that's very much appreciated.
Yeah, so the spin aspect on a fairway wood is really key. And so what we want to do is balance lowering of spin, which usually does have a trade-off. And typically that's you need to move your CG to a less ideal location for forgiveness. But really what we're able to do is balance CG positioning and the stability factor of the head, and really see that play out on the golf course. So even though the forgiveness aspect from a moment of inertia standpoint is slightly lower, we're actually seeing tighter dispersion, what a player sees on the golf course, because of a more ideal CG location.
Interesting.
And you said 8 to 10 grams. I mean, for modern design to free up 8 to 10 grams from one product generation to the next, that's huge.
Yeah, it's substantial.
Now discretionary weight that can be repositioned somewhere. I mean, how much freedom did that give you for design?
Yeah, so from a designer standpoint, we're talking about you can move the CG more than 50 thou, and even that sounds minimal. But for a designer, I mean, that's a win. And so for us, we went, that's a huge opportunity. And so taking advantage of that allows us, like I mentioned, we could add half a degree of loft, but actually see up to 300 RPM less spin comparing 425 versus 430. Wow. And that's really leading to this higher launch, lower spin, easier to hit, and really is leading to just a fairway wood that you can set down, deliver a lot of confidence, and see the trajectory that leads to more distance.
So we'll see, obviously, now we've got to the fairway woods. As we get into hybrids, what kind of tech are we going to see in that in comparison to previous iterations?
So with G430 hybrids, there's a lot of similarities between the fairway wood and the hybrid. With the hybrid in particular, it's our long iron replacement, even mid iron. We go from a 2 hybrid all the way down to a 7 hybrid. And there's some different constraints when we look at that. So we really want to target the 2, 3, 4 on distance and really being that long iron alternative. When we talk about the 5, 6, 7, it's about being really stable gapping in kind of that mid-iron space for more of a traditional G type player. But when we talk about the technologies, we both have carbon fly wrap that's leading to a substantial weight savings and allowing the CG to be pulled down. We also have our face wrap construction design, and so that allows us to really dial in ball speed off the face, the shape optimization as well, so our spinsistency profile. And they're all keys that why they do kind of carry down across the full Metalwoods line. They've been essential to get more distance, to flight better in the air, lead to just better playability, and really make that one we're talking about golfer playing their best. We have a fitting alternative that really maximizes potential that's better than a long iron.